All right, guys, hope you're doing well. Just jumping back on here. Had a little bit of a hiccup on the last live stream where my trading view was improperly displaying. And I've since got that figured out. Had to call in some reinforcements. Obviously, it was one of those simple things that happens. However, all right. So it was one of those simple things that happens that it's simple to the person who knows what is causing it. That being said, guys, wanted to share with you guys yet again. We have, a couple of things going for us today. Now, for those of you guys who are, who've already purchased this indicator, guys, you will potentially have seen this printed. Why is this so important? Okay. Well, obviously, guys, Bitcoin drives the market. So Bitcoin drives the market, which means everything follows, Mac Daddy Bitcoin, right? And so the fact that the Pro Trade Manager, now, I think I'm pretty much tied with which of the top two indicators are my favorite. Okay. The market cycle highs and lows and the Pro Trade Manager. And let me show you why. But before I do, let me show you the signal that printed. Okay. So right here, last night at 8 p.m., where the daily candle closed, it printed the buy signal on the Pro Trade Manager on the highest accuracy setting, guys. What does this mean? It means that basically everything that is built into the Pro Trade Manager, which is basically it acts as your professional trader manager. Okay, that's why it's called the Pro Trade Manager. So it takes all of the sophisticated trading strategies that are known about by the indicator creator, and all of that data is built in here on what they programmed it to look for. But then they added some secret sauce to it, okay, that where they asked AI to, give it even some bonuses on improving the strategy beyond what they know. So this Pro Trade Manager is so sophisticated on the back end, but yet so simple on the front end. And it just simply prints these little dots that shows you when there are buying opportunities in the market, when it basically is predicting what would be considered a bottom. Now, you know that for the past month, we have been in this, non-moving realm here between 66,000 and 58,000. And it's just been going back and forth. And really the market's just been deciding. And it printed one a month ago, hasn't moved much, but it printed another one. If you go back historically and look through all of the data on, and remember, this is coin specific. So this works on each coin. That's why if you go to XRP, it did not print one. XLM, it did not print one, right? Shiba, we talked about this, it printed one the other day. It is depicting bottoms, roughly, okay? And once again, we've gone through the historical data. I'm not going to do that on this video just because I've done it on every single video. This video, I'm showing you the simplicity and what it actually did. Because if it printed the buy signal on Bitcoin yesterday at the close of the daily candle, then naturally, it was basically making a determination that this would have been roughly the bottom. Okay. So, yeah. And again, I've shared with you as well. Silver. It printed the silver right here on June 23rd. And this is more like swing trading, guys. So it takes a few weeks to you know, and potentially even a few months to see these things play out. Like right here. This was what the signal pinned as the top on the 13th of May. It was telling you to sell right here. Okay. Now, the next buy was right here, where it was a 30% drop. 30% drop. So if you would have sold right here where it told you to, and then bought right here, and, you know, obviously the critic is going to be like, oh, but it went down a little bit. Guys, you've got to be kidding me. Wait till you see how this plays out, right? Now, granted, there are certain prophetic insights that we're stewarding that go beyond technical analysis. And so we believe that there are things that you won't be able to see on technical analysis that God reveals in the prophetic. But as you guys know, I have said over and over again, based upon what the Lord showed me in January for silver, this is the bottom. Okay. And, you know, I believe we expect to see it go up from here. I believe it could dance around this range, just like Bitcoin has been dancing around this range, you know, threatening the floor, if you will. But if you were to buy any of these coins, any of them, silver, Bitcoin, XRP, XLM, well, I don't have any insights on XLM. I'll just throw that out there. I'll stick with what the Lord has shown me. Any of these things that I've mentioned, you would be in a good spot based upon where the Lord has shown me their next step is when they rise. Silver, XRP, Bitcoin. I've seen the top of Bitcoin. I've seen the top of Bitcoin. I've seen the top of silver, and I've seen the top of XRP in my dreams. But once again, I have talked about how nothing moves in a straight line. So if God told me to sell XRP last year at this range, and then he tells me to buy down at this range, there was a lot of in-between movement where nothing moves in a straight line. And so during that whole time, you've got the zigs and the zags all the way down till it finally comes to where God showed me that we would be here a year ago. And so it's those zigs and those zags that we're talking about, because there have been so many opportunities over this past year where I've told my private community just on wisdom, not even technical analysis, just on wisdom alone, where I have literally said, guys, based upon what we just saw, it might be a good, or you know, to not forget to A, take profits, and to B, you know, buy the dip. And I have mentioned this so many times along the way. And I've had so many of my community members who did, even though it wasn't prophetic, it was just wisdom, because we know that nothing moves in a straight line. So even though God showed me last year that we were going to be down here, I can't stand when I disappear a finger. And so even though God showed me last year that we were going to be down here, there's so many opportunities along the way. And so if you've been a part of this prophetic journey, maybe you've been a part of some other prophetic communities where other prophetic ministers have been sharing some key insights, price points, different things, and you've also learned this valuable lesson. Let's just say you're not even following the prophetic. You could care less about the prophetic. Fine. Then this indicator is for you, for sure. Obviously, it's up to everybody to know the risk. Don't, just because it prints a green dot doesn't mean you sell your house and put everything on the green dot, right? Right? So anyhow, guys, it's the 4th of July special sale they have going on right now. You get $100 off each of these indicators right now. Before this sale, you got half of that off, $50 each indicator. Now it's $100 because of the 4th of July promotion. If you're a member of my private community, you get $125 off. That was not my doing. That was the creator of this indicator and his doing. He's just done right by myself and by our people. And I believe he's doing right by all of you all who aren't even in any private communities, because this $100 off is a great opportunity. And before God started showing me prophetic insights about the market, I was taking advantage of opportunities like this. And this would have been a gold mine for me. Still is. You can see me loving every bit of it. I love the fact that I get to see the data that whales are selling. Okay. I love to get to see the data that whales are selling with the volume bubbles, or whales are buying, right? And of course, we've been in a bearish market here. So you can see that the sells are outperforming the buys. And so but when you get the signals that these whale movements are happening, that large volume is happening, it is so important. I post these alerts inside my private community. I just post the alerts. I'm like, hey guys, people are dumping Bitcoin right now. I just got an alert on my phone. And people are like, thank you for sharing this. And last night, while we were having our Tuesday night deliverance service, I got a notification that I didn't see till our service was over. It was 4 hours later that the whales were buying XLM. That the whales were buying XLM. That alert, let's pull it up on the charts. So that would have been, well, what it would have been is this thing needs a refresh. The 30th, right about here is where I got this alert. And it said that there was big buying volume happening on XLM. And obviously you could see here that it was happening in this hour range, but this is where I got the alert right here. And then of course, it rose another 10%, guys. Hello. It's important to know these details, right? And so that was when I got the alert. And it'll send you the alert. Now, I know that's ironic because it was the close of the daily candle, but it sends you the alert at 1:30 in the afternoon whenever the movement is happening. But anyway, just wanted to share this with you guys, let you know that these were on sale. Grab them if you want them. And also be watchful in the market. Be watchful in the market because the indicator actually gives you instructions on opening up even leveraged trades where it gives you the instructions to go long. And if you saw it on the charts, let me show it to you. Right here, yesterday's candle, it said long entry, short take profit. So in other words, you want to go long, you want to bet on the market rising. And of course, here you have where it printed and then it rose. Okay. And so keep this in mind, guys. You can do it or not do it, but nothing is perfect. It's not going to have 100% accuracy rate, but that printed on the highest accuracy setting. Okay. Important to know. So keep that in mind. And I can't remember the percentage, but I think it was like 85% was the win rate. Let me make sure I go over these three indicators with you guys. Okay, real quick. The Pro Trade Manager is my favorite, probably by far, because, and the reason, let me tell you why. Oh, sorry. The market cycle highs and lows is my favorite. Even though I'm probably going to use this way less, okay? It shows you the colors of where everything's at, and then it gives you the definition. So this dark green is in concern, and this blue is in caution. Then it goes up to mild caution, neutral, mild greed, high greed, extreme greed, and then max euphoria. And then on the bottom below concern is fear and max fear. And of course, the markets are all moved by emotion. That's why it's like a casino. The house always wins, right? And that, the majority of people make mistakes in markets. And so you have to be very disciplined. And that's why, following technical analysis is what causes people to be disciplined. So, what's the common mistake that people do? They chase the pumps, and they're like, then they what in the world? Okay, that looks like a horror movie wrote that or something. Sorry, guys. Like if I never mind. All right. So anyway, so basically, people are like, what's it going to do? What's it going to do? What's it going to do? I'm afraid to make a decision. I'm afraid to make a decision. Is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? Is it going to go up? And then all of a sudden they see it just taken off. And they're like, oh my gosh, I got to get in. And they FOMO in. And then all of a sudden they realize that they just bought in at the top, right? That's emotion. And that's how the markets make money off of, unfortunately, those people. And so this is not FOMO. This is basically saying that, you pay attention to the technical analysis, and that's where we ride. All right. That being said, this is the market cycle highs and lows. This is the volume bubbles that shows you the buys and sells of the big movement behind the scenes. Then this is the, actually, let me do this one. This is the third one of the three that have the sale. This is the Pro Trade Manager. The Pro Trade Manager is probably the most popular amongst everyone else, like the people that I've shared this with. We've had, I think, the most buys with the Pro Trade Manager because it prints the buys and the sells, right? And obviously that's pretty neat because it says sell up here at the top, buy down here at the bottom. And it obviously was, doing very well. And the fourth one that doesn't have a coupon attached to it because it's much cheaper than all the other ones is this one, the EMA Distance Analyzer. They're all on my website, guys. But the EMA Distance Analyzer basically shows you how far away from the moving average the coin is. So right here, look at how far this wick came down. And if we were to put a line on that wick right there, you could see nothing came anywhere close to that. Nothing. And so that was a big, big move down. And of course, look at that. It's the February 5th crash. So of course it was a big move down. Right? Oh, I've got everything off. I'm like, where is the data? All right. So you see this big crash right here? Boom. And so that's what you're seeing down here is far from the moving average. So far from the moving average means a very large retracement happening or potentially a flash crash, which, by the way, is or can be an incredible buying opportunity because on those big dips, the majority of the time, they're going to retrace a little bit before even they go back down. Not always. And so, you want to use sometimes multiple indicators combined to give yourself the best, data to make your decisions. Now, none of this is financial advice. Neither should it be construed as financial advice. And so, it's up to you to obviously determine for yourself what would be risk capital to put into the markets, to keep out of the markets, to not do a single thing in the markets, whatever you choose. Seek whatever professional advice you feel you need. But the indicator printed the signal last night at the close of the daily candle, basically signifying it's time to buy Bitcoin. And that was on the most accurate setting of the Pro Trade Manager. Okay? So keep that in mind. Please remember, I don't share any price points of what the Lord is showing me outside of my private community. That's only inside my private community. I've talked about this till I'm blue in the face, explaining that this is a marathon, not a sprint. And you have to understand and be discipled in the prophetic to even be able to steward the prophetic. People who just follow price points and have no idea how to steward the prophetic get wrecked. And so in order to protect and preserve the spiritual data that I believe the Lord is releasing, keywords, I believe, it's important to know how to steward it. In fact, I just had a gentleman comment today. I'll read you his message. He said, Pastor John, I haven't had a chance to thank you personally. In early 2024, I was a newborn Christian. I came to the realization that God, Jesus, are actually real and that they've been with us all this time. To cut a long story short, I learned about the end times, the wealth transfer, found Brandon Biggs, Troy Black, saw Brandon was talking about XRP. So I started buying XRP, but not until around mid to late 2024 did your videos start appearing in my feed. You talked about your dream that XRP was about to launch. I felt you were genuine. So I sold almost all of my stocks and my crypto and put almost my entire liquid net worth into XRP and went all in. He says, I'm talking about multiple 7-figure profits that were achieved after the launch. He says, I wouldn't have gone in all in on XRP if it weren't for you and the Lord, obviously. Now, please remember, we don't recommend anybody do anything remotely close to this. This is absurd. But that's why me and a gentleman that was a part of my church years ago, he said, or we used to say, stupid faith. We call it stupid faith because to the world, it looks stupid. It looks foolish. And I don't recommend anybody do anything remotely close to this or follow any information that I share. But obviously, everybody has the full and complete capacity to be human and to do what they feel the Lord is leading them to do. This man of God did that very thing. But one of the things that he also said later on in the message, he said, hold on. He said, it has been a huge learning experience on how to steward the prophetic. That's what he said. It's been a huge learning experience on how to steward the prophetic. So this is what I try. And I've had so many people inside my private community that have just said, I have learned, and I never would have learned had it not been for this private community, how to steward the prophetic word of the Lord. So that being said, guys, I'm going to jump off here and bless you guys. Don't forget the links for all of these things are in the description section, whether you want to buy these indicators, whether you want to join my private community. I also have the link on where to buy silver. There's a link to buy digital silver. There's a link to buy physical silver. I also put in the description the two types of digital silver. There's the 1X, where it's 1-for-1, no leverage. And then there's the 2X, which means every dollar it moves down, you earn or you lose 2. Every dollar it moves up, you gain 2. And so if you buy the 2X leverage and you believe it's going to go up, then as the price goes up, you're earning twice as much in that process. So since I believe that technical analysis, let me share this with you. Since I believe that technical analysis has confirmed what the Lord showed me back in January that the $60 range would be the bottom, and it printed. It actually printed, look at that, at $61, the buy signal. Now it went to 55, don't get me wrong, but I saw 60, Ryan saw 55, and so, we've pretty much got confirmation that, we have what we believe to be have reached the bottom. And then, of course, this indicator printed the buy signal on the highest accuracy setting for the third time in almost 3 years on silver. It is the least printed buying signal on any of these indicators that I've seen. And it's because we've been in such a bullish season for silver. But because we've come down from the high to this place, it, based upon the data, is saying to buy. And this is the number range that God spoke to me in January that it would come down to. This stuff just rocks my world, man. I don't know about you guys, but this stuff just rocks my world. Following the Holy Spirit is just... My old pastor used to say, living a life without God is like living half of a life. Well, I would definitely bring a bunch of correction to that statement. I would say it's much less than that. Because living a life with God is way more than living double of the life that I lived before him. Way more. These adventures in the Holy Spirit are just incredible. When God gives you the prophetic foresight to show you where the bottom of precious metals is going to be, and then the indicator prints the buy signal on that price 6 months later, when it reaches that exact range. We have a saying in the church, you can't make this stuff up, man. You can't make this stuff up. God is so good. Bless you guys. All the links are in the description section below. Bye-bye.